Okay, looks like it's 6:30. We have everyone here. We'll go ahead and convene. Our screens are off, though.
I'm trying to turn it on.
I tried to turn it on.
All right. We just turn them on ourselves.
How'd you turn it on?
Am I okay to do this from my own agenda? All right. So we'll go ahead and call to order. We'll start off with actions taken in, oh wait, no, where am I at?
Yeah.
Yeah, actions taken in closed session.
We have two actions that were taken in closed session. On a 7-0 vote, the board in closed session voted to issue a notice of rejection of claims pursuant to Government Code Section 913. And the second report, on a 6-0 vote with Trustee Jamal casting a negative vote, the board in closed session took action to deny an appeal of a student complaint of unlawful discrimination pursuant to California Code of Regulations, Title 5, Section 59338.
Okay, just to correct the record, it would be 6-1, not 6-0. Okay. So next we have invocation led by Trustee Marcia Milchiker and Pledge of Allegiance led by myself. Please stand.
Okay. We recently celebrated the anniversary of our incredible community college district. We were founded on Valentine's Day in 1967. Ever since this auspicious occasion, our district has been known as the District with the Heart. Saddleback Community College District has a huge heart and a soul. We love our students and we love each other. I feel so fortunate to have some small part in this. We serve over 60,000 students every year. And we turn lives around, give students hope, and enrich their lives forever. I thank all of our professors, administrators, and staff for their incredible service. I ask for your blessings for our hardworking students and staff, and for wisdom as we chart our course for our incredible district with a heart.
Okay, please join me in saluting our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you very much. Next, we have public comments. I do have two requests for public comments. Again, we ask that we try and limit to 2 minutes. Our first two speakers, Alexis Rock and Everest Jilke. Did I say that correctly? Right.
Hi, everyone. We will be very brief. First off, congratulations on 50 years. Very impressive. We are from the Guaranteed Accounting Program, a joint program through Cal State Fullerton and Irvine Valley College. And we are hosting our second annual Business Leader Speaker Series event. And this year we have the pleasure and honor of hosting this school's very own President Reagan's son, Michael Reagan. Pretty nice fitting because we are in the Reagan room. And he is going to be discussing how success comes from failure with everybody. So we urge you to attend. It's going to be held at Irvine Valley College in the PAC on Friday, April 26th. And all the proceeds are going to be going to the students in the Guaranteed Accounting Program. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
What time? What time?
The flyer says 12:30 to 1:30.
Thank you. I didn't get a flyer.
They just gave it to me. All right. Thank you very much. I've heard him speak. He's very funny. He tells lots of stories. All right. Next we have Jasper Hall Thomas.
Hello, I'm Jasper Thomas. I'm trans. And one thing I noticed about IVC and Saddleback is that we don't have an LGBT center, like many other colleges that I heard from when I was away at a retreat for transgender students. Also, I believe that we're supposed to be allowed one instance a year where we're given the complaint forms and told how to use them. And I believe that's not going on the IVC campus due to my experience being there for over a year. I feel that my community would actually benefit greatly from knowing how to use those complaint forms and knowing that they exist. So in essence, all of our LGBT discrimination is being unreported by everyone except for essentially me. I've pretty much confirmed this with the GSA. Nobody really wants to go through the complaints process after the sort of things I've told them about the complaints process and my experiences. And that's also making it very hard. Also, I feel that Cindy Viscachill keeps on just harassing me in ways that are not necessarily discrimination, but are very subjectively uncomfortable, and I'd really like for her to stop doing that, and for her to stop doing that to possibly future students and generations of students that I'm trying to get to file their complaints, and I'm trying to really push for them to file their complaints. Also, I'd like to ask just administrators in general to stop using the wrong names for transgender students. So that's about it.
Thank you for your time. Okay, next we have board reports. We'll start down here with Trustee Lang.
Yes, thank you, President Prendergast. A few items caught my attention, which I thought I'd briefly make mention of in my remarks today. The first involves some comments that were contained in the Chancellor's district report regarding issues raised at the Bureau of Nursing Regional Hearing. I was certainly unaware of the challenges that our students are facing relative to their pursuing their ADN degrees and overall competitive challenges that they are facing from for-profit nursing programs. Our nursing program is consistently ranked as one of the best in the state, a fact that I'm sure that all of the trustees are quite proud of. Personally, early in my trustee tenure, I was able to benefit from a visit I made to an area hospital to observe our students in action, which allowed me to appreciate the difficult but fine work that our students do. I've also attended as many of the annual pinning ceremonies as I've been able to go to over the years. The Chancellor has assured me that we will be discussing these issues in further depth, so I'm not requesting at this time any special discussion on this item. Secondly, in today's Los Angeles Times opinion section, it contained an op-ed piece regarding community colleges accommodating homeless students. I know this issue has come up in the past from both trustees Prendergast and Witt. Apparently, Assembly Bill 302 has been introduced by Assemblyman Mark Berman to try and address this situation. The bill would require community colleges to allow homeless students who are enrolled in classes and in good standing and living in their vehicles to park overnight in campus parking facilities. The article does go on to make the point that this parking bill raises a host of complicated issues which must be answered first. Apparently, Cypress College has launched such a program, and their experience may be instructive as our district further considers this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Trustee Jay. We don't have a clock, do we?
We do. I'm watching it.
Okay.
On
This-
Jim's screen.
Oh, Jim's got his.
Yeah, we do. I have one.
This has been a busy month. Since our last board meeting, I've had the pleasure of attending district and college events which reinforce my belief in the work of our district is doing and in the service we provide to our community. Items I'd like to highlight include, on January 23rd, I participated in a session of the Board Policy Subcommittee where 13 board policies and administrative regulations were reviewed. On February 12th, I attended the IVC Foundation Board of Governors meetings in the IVC President's Conference Rooms. There are 29 members on the board, which reflects the level of commitment the Irvine community has for the foundation's work. The following topics were covered. 1, the astounding inventions, which is briefly a science invention competition for elementary school children, but is really so much more. It was held January 26th. It is in its 32nd year and was a huge success. The sponsorship of Astounding Inventions was way up for this year, and the children truly came up with some astounding inventions, and approximately 2,000 people attended. The Foundation Awards Dinner will be held Saturday, March 9th at Feta La Venue in Costa Mesa. Those being honored include outstanding alumni Shadi Porkashev, for the Community Partner of Excellence, Novi Martins. For the administrator being honored, it's Brooke Bowie, Dean of Liberal Arts. Classified staff is Ann Akers, Outreach and Community Relations. Student Dong Hong Shin, Community Studies major. Student veteran Travis Grafton, Pre-Engineering Electrical major. Faculty being honored is Edwin Tonginson, Professor of Communications. Also, the Foundation Scholarship Ceremony will be held May 15, 2019. A Holocaust exhibit and display entitled The Courage to Remember is coming to the IVC Performing Arts Centers March 11th through 14th. All are invited to this fine exhibit. At ATEP, there is a 2-year engineering program which upon successful completion offers guaranteed transfer to UC Irvine. This program is full and has a waiting list. There have been lots of parental participation at IVC, with Astounding Inventions program as an example. The enrollment at IVC is up 1%. On February 12th, I attended another board policy subcommittee meeting at the district office. I want to draw attention to this. It's a letter to the editor of the Los Angeles Times on February 7th entitled Cheaper, Safer, Better Studies. It's about community colleges being a better deal for students with less debt, professionals, not graduate students teaching classes, smaller class size, and the like. It was written by Gary Rybal, chairman of the Communication Studies Department at IVC. Well done, Chairman Rybal.
Okay.
You gonna skip yourself again?
No. Oh, well, do you?
You
It
did
doesn't
last
matter to me. Yeah, I guess
You
no.
can.
No, I don't need to have the last word this time. All right. So on January 23rd, I attended the Orange County School Board Association board meeting, which I'm the representative from this group on that board. And I bring this up because, and it ties very nicely into Trustee Lang's comments. The County of Orange conducted a homeless census. And in doing so, they're sharing that data with the Orange County Department of Ed to develop potential strategies for dealing with homelessness in the schools, primarily K through 12, but obviously it applies to the community college system within Orange County as well. So one of the things that we agreed at that board is at one of the dinner meetings that we can attend once Wednesday night, they're going to have a presentation on that information. So when I know that that's coming, I will definitely share it with the rest of the board and, of course, the public. And then on January 26th, I got to speak at the Astounding Inventions and give awards out, which is always a highlight. I'm glad I was able to make it. I was actually supposed to be coaching a swim meet, but the weather didn't cooperate, so I got to go instead. And then there was one young lady who invented goggles that you can get your news on while you're swimming, so you're not bored. and I told her as soon as she gets those going, I'll take them. I'll be the prototype tester. And then January 30th, I appeared on Laguna Wild's television promoting the district, and that's always fun and exciting. So with that, I will move on to Trustee Jamal.
Thank you. So first of all, I'm happy, Trustees Lang and Jay, to see you're still reading the newspaper. That's good to see that. I had a heavy month in terms of advocacy. So I attended the CCLC Legislative Conference in Sacramento and did some advocacy visits the next day with our representatives, with Chancellor Burke, Trustee Milchiker, Dr. Stern, and our advocates in Sacramento. And I thought we had really productive meetings. We met with, and Letitia, sorry, was also with us for most of them. And we met with new representative, Kadi Petrie-Norris, Bill Bro's office. He was out due to a medical issue, just a minor medical issue. We met with Leader Bates, and we talked about 3 issues. One, support for AB 30, which would prohibit the sunset of dual enrollment programs. It's obviously important to us in our district and our 2 colleges. 2, we advocated pretty strongly for the IVC Fine Arts project to be in the May revise of the governor's budget. We talked about that at every meeting, and you should be happy that Elliot was one of your biggest advocates when the issue came up. And then we also discussed as an issue Trustee Lang alluded to earlier, which was the challenge of our nursing clinical placements, and see if there's a possible solution to that. I also had a chance to be in D.C. with our federal advocates and met with all the offices of our newly elected members of Congress. I did meet with Congresswoman Katie Porter in person, and it was a very productive meeting. I think she's someone that's going to be very supportive of our 2 colleges in our district. She is a former faculty member at UCI on their law faculty. I think she understands higher education issues. And we talked to her about several issues. So she's going to come here. We're going to give her a tour of the campus in ATEP. We also talked to her about the challenge of our health center not getting reimbursed for on Medi-Cal payments for the services provided to Medi-Cal eligible students. So very good meetings. I thank the advocates in Sacramento and DC for all their assistance. Bobby mentioned the board policy subcommittee. We've had 2 meetings. Those are going well. And I heard last night a Saddleback College student won an Oscar, but I won't steal Scott Ferguson Green's thunder because I think he's going to have something to say about it later. Thank you.
All right, Trustee Wright.
I just wanted to mention just one item that I attended on Wednesday, February the 20th. The district offices, Saddleback College and Irvine Valley College, were asked to take part in a district-wide effort to recognize Go Red for Women, a national effort of the American Heart Association to increase awareness of women's cardiac health and improve the lives of women globally. On Wednesday, February the 20th, we were all asked to wear red. I was also became part of a photo shoot that was taking place at the Chancellor's office at 12 o'clock that day. They actually roped me into being in there. There were only 2 males in that. Bob Bernucci and myself were the only males in that photo, but it was great to be there and to recognize the fact that heart disease is a leading cause of death for women in the United States. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Trustee Milchiker.
Okay, I'll mention 4 items. I'll try not to repeat my fellow board members' reports. I attended one of the popular Emeritus Institute lectures along with Saddleback College President Dr. Elliot Stern, and this was on the neuroscience of healthy cognitive aging given by Dr. Dee Gaines, and she came all the way down from LA. She's a famous neuroscientist to talk to us. This class is the largest class in our entire district with close to 800 students in the class. It's very popular. There's a different person speaking in a different topic every week, a different lecture, a different expert every week, and the students just love it. I also attended the Saddleback College lecture series on cystic fibrosis given by Dr. Brian Baer, husband of our own chemistry professor, Teresa Baer. Dr. Teresa Baer. And Dr. Baer is working on finding a cure, or certainly a help for patients with cystic fibrosis. And cystic fibrosis is a very rare genetic disease, with really serious consequences. And he's been working for over 15 years in a laboratory to try to find a pharmaceutical to help these patients. And the very wonderful thing at the end was a pharmaceutical, one of the women asked a question, because she knows Dr. Baer, because her daughter has cystic fibrosis and is attending college now and is alive now because of these drugs. So the students there, many college students were there, and they were there learning about what careers they could go into to really help people in the future. I also attended the CCLC Legislative Conference along with Trustee Jamal, and as the staff actually set it up, so we met with legislators themselves. We met with, as he mentioned, I'll mention it again, Pat Bates, John Morlock, Kadi Petri-Norris, Stephen Choi, and Bill Bro's staff, because he wasn't able to come. And once again, we discussed AB 30 and our nursing program problem with clinical enrollment. And on the legislative task force meeting, it was very successful. We talked about the legislative meeting in Sacramento and in Washington, D.C., even though I didn't attend that one. And on that day, there was a meeting of the Bureau of Registered Nursing, BRN, and our Dean of Nursing and several of our district staff attended that meeting and talked about the problem our students are having getting clinical placements, and we're looking into legislative solutions for this, and many of the legislators said that they would work with us and sponsoring legislation or work with us to have legislative solutions to these problems. So it's been a really interesting month, and I know that these legislators have pledged to help us on all of these problems that we're having. But generally, things are going beautifully. Thanks.
All right. Trustee Witt.
Good evening, everyone, and I will be short. I do want to say thank you, Trustee Lang, for mentioning the problems, and Marcia, thank you so much for finishing it off. There is a huge problem, and that problem is ours. I really think everybody in this room needs to realize that, because when you're sick, you're going to need a nurse. And I would rather have a nurse from Saddleback. Not that I'm prejudiced or everything, but having been in the program for so long, it is a phenomenal program. It really is. The problem that we have in placements, everyone, are private schools. And the private schools have a lot of money. Do you hear what I'm saying? All right. So that is something that the legislature, I don't know if they can handle that or bite that off. I'm not sure if that's going to work, really. It's a money problem. Also, thank you, Trustee Lang, for introducing the Bill 302 to us. It's very, very important. I understand that we're an academic institution, and should we deal with social problems, that is an opinion that you have to make inside and one that the board will have to make. Non-academic barriers, I happen to be on the East Coast, and I was at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute and getting a tour of the campus, and I happened to say something to our tour guide, and I said, how do you deal with non-academic barriers? And she looked at me, what? And I said, yeah, your non-academic barriers. She had no idea what I was talking about. In private schools, they don't have non-academic barriers because everybody pays for what they want. All right, I did want to share something with you, and I hope it went up on the screen. And this is going to happen this Saturday. I think I once told you about coming to the Veterans Walk, etc. But this is called the Festival of the Hearts. And if you know of anybody, some young teenagers, some young students, what's important here is that it's a phenomenal experience. Last year was the food, by the way, was great. But I want to tell you what this is about. And it is continuous talks, lectures, however you want to talk about it, healthy relationships. It's for maybe a young student, young boy. What? Oh,
Just took my
or young.
flyer, that's all.
At any rate, look at it. Positive thinking and affirmation, safe dating, social media and bullying, substance abuse and warning signs. Seriously, this is a large group of, how should I say this, of mastered people who have dealt with these problems, who come here, donate their time, and go into small groups with our students or the community. So if you wouldn't mind, just share it with one person. I'm not asking for more than 10, but do share it. This is a phenomenal, probably one of the 10 great programs that we have on this campus. It is worthwhile. So it's this coming Saturday. I know it's a Saturday. I'm coming. I hope to see you there. Bye.
Okay, student trustee Hong.
Good evening, everyone. I attended a few events this month. On February 1st, I attended the listening session with the MIG consultants. And I was also there with other ASG representatives, and we were able to voice our concerns as they were assessing the outlook for the next 10 years. Some concerns brought up were the need for guided pathways, which is being worked on, and also improvements in counseling. On February 12th, I attended the homecoming crowning along with Matt, as we were both on the homecoming court. So that was an amazing scholarship opportunity. So that was really fun. And then after that, I had to change really quick and then go to the IBC Honors Night, where I was a student speaker. And we got to talk to a lot of prospective high school students, which was really, really fun. And a lot of them actually came up to me afterward and really wanted to get involved really quickly. So that was really positive. On February 14th and February 20th, I met with Chancellor Burke and Vice Chancellor Anne-Marie Gable to talk about student trustee election procedures, which I'd like to see reformed. And I just feel like it's really important because my position is supposed to be representing both schools for both students, students at both colleges to have a student voice, and to go off on that point to address Jasper's comments, and I know he's left since, but and to voice Trustee Witt's comments about non-academic barriers. I mean, talk about a non-academic barrier. And, I come here every month and I'm as a student trustee and I sit here and I talk to everyone. But to really put yourself in that vulnerable position and voice his concerns, that takes a lot. That takes a lot of bravery. So I really want to commend him for that. And as for speaking to just the student complaint problem or the complaint process on IBC in general, that is something that I'm working on personally. So I'll definitely be connecting with Jasper to talk about that. But I know that LGBT students at IBC, there are a lot of resources for them. There's a Pride Scholars Program. There's a GSA, as Jasper mentioned. And there's also, from what I've heard, there is, in the B200 building, there's a health and wellness center just for LGBT students being worked on, where they'll have private counseling and their own private counselors. So I do know those resources are available, but obviously there's two sides to every story, and that was Jasper's side, and obviously I'm going to look in that. But I do want to emphasize that point that students, it is an academic institution and there are non-academic barriers, and to acknowledge those and to voice those in the brave way that Jasper did, I think that really needs to be acknowledged. So thank you.
All right, Chancellor Burke.
So as you've already heard, the state legislative session is in full effect. And last Friday, George Washington's actual birthday, was the deadline to introduce bills. We have submitted some position letters or proposals according to the priorities expressed by board members during either legislative visits or board meetings. So letters of support were sent for the following. Capital outlay support sent to Senator Roth and Assemblymember McCarty in support of Saddleback College's Gateway project to remain in the budget, and additional advocacy for IVC's arts project to be included in the budget. We sent a letter on behalf, as related to Assembly Bill 30, Holden, which is the College and Career Pathways Partnership, sent to Assemblymember Jose Medina, supporting that program, as was discussed here. And we sent a letter to the State Chancellor's Office and to the League on Senate Bill 291, LEVA, which was the California Community College Affordability Proposal. The other really hot issues in terms of the legislature you've also heard referred to, which is Assembly Bill 302 Berman on the parking for homeless students, and the clinical placement for nursing students. The BRN has been successful in discussing those issues with Senator Roth, who will be putting forth a Senate bill related to that particular issue. We still don't know the number for that bill yet, but there has been spot legislation suggested. As it relates to our board and your support and advocacy, and resolutions on this various legislation. We plan to present a legislative priority agenda for your consideration next month at the March meeting, and that will entail an overview of the topics likely to be heard this session. We'll have a lot more, we'll know a lot more in another month. There'll be, some of those spot bills will be fleshed out by then. And that way you can determine what bills that as a board you wish to support, oppose, or stay neutral on.
Thank you very much. All right, next we have college president's reports. Who would like to go first?
All right, thank you very much. I have 2 items I would like to add to my written report. And I'll apologize to Scott Green. I don't want to steal his thunder, but apparently we're sharing this alumna, the Academy Award winner. Her name is Rika Zatabshi, and she's the producer of Period, End of Sentence, a very important short film. So she attended Irvine Valley College in 2014, and I'm sure she went to both colleges, so we get to celebrate together, okay? All right, good. Then I would like to congratulate Coach Julie Hanks and the women's basketball team because Friday night they won the conference title. Wow. And this was against Cyprus. It was a nail biter. Score was 89-64. So congratulations, women's basketball team.
All right, thank you very much. President Stern.
Mike.
Mike.
Turn it on.
Teach Elliot how to do this, sorry. Only my second one. Apropos of multiple comments tonight about non-academic barriers to students, I'd like to highlight a couple things from the board report that I provided for you. The best test of whether this really makes a difference in student success, or conversely, whether these barriers impair our student success, is whether our students do better when we take those barriers away. And you'll see data that we've already accumulated showing that, for instance, zero-cost textbooks increase student success in classes by 6.8%. You'll see that in our Promise program, we've achieved fall to spring retention of 98%. 98% semester to semester retention. So there's proof that this stuff works and that barriers make a difference. And finally tonight, I want to call your attention to some information about our online programming. As I reported to you in the board report, we're now at 28% of our FTEs for our online education segment. And this means that we are now the largest provider of online education among the 114 community colleges in the state. But more importantly, while most of those community colleges, if you ask them and they do dig downs of their data, have achievement gaps between the students who take online courses and students who take on-ground classes, we have closed that achievement gap. In fact, we have better course success for our online students than we do for our on-ground students. So we're very proud of that. So being #1 in the state, being Oscar winners, and closing our achievement gap for our students in online education, we say to California Online, bring it on.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, next we have Associated Student Government reports. Who would like to go first? All right.
So I read that same article in the LA Times today about AB 302, and I'm excited and to see that the state and that the conversation we're having here right now is really starting to focus on non-academic barriers, because that is a huge issue affecting students at Saddleback and in South Orange County in general, given where we live and the cost of living here. So with that, I support AB 302, and students should be able to, homeless students, to park their cars on campus and be able to spend the night there. And then that is a short-term solution, though. So our ASG has created an ad hoc housing committee, and that we are going to be continue pushing through the college governance process to support on-campus affordable housing for students. And we plan on continue pushing for that. And when we met with the consultants for the Educational Master Strategic Plan, we focused in on that and that the issues students are facing with housing costs in the area. And we also talked about some other issues relating to sustainability in our cafeteria, but mainly wanted to focus on the non-academic barriers. And with that, our Associated Student Government is also working with OCTA into potentially providing free, well, it wouldn't be free, but $5 semester bus passes for students that don't have transportation to college, which is good because it goes into multiple factors, which is on the Board of Trustees agenda tonight for the sustainability plan, because public transportation is in the sustainability plan, but also helps students with non-academic barriers. So that's something that we're working with OCTA on. We are going to be attending the Student Senate for California Community Colleges General Assembly in Sacramento in April, in which we're going to be working with other associated student governments to continue to pass resolutions and to push for ending non-academic barriers. And we are going to be working with other community colleges too to have them support AB 302 as well, to talk about them supporting at their colleges and pushing administration to support it. So that's our report.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, trustees. Likewise, speaking on the non-academic barriers topic, our Pride Scholars program is also hoping to focus on LGBTQ students and to help them in as many ways as possible. And in doing so, on February 14th, just an example of how they're helping, we hosted our Valen Pride event, in which we had over 150 students in attendance. And that was essentially hoping to focus on providing awareness and a safe space for LGBTQ students to speak and feel free and to do well in school. And we're also I'm meeting with President Rockmore as well to hopefully see about the housing issues that are facing the county, and hoping to work more with Perry as well on that. In terms of ASG matters, our Budget and Finance Committee is currently in the process of reviewing our budget, as well as planning for budget hearings with clubs and co-curriculars to assess whether there's a need for additional or reduced funding. And we're also hoping to revert back to the sticker system on ID cards, which shows you purchased the ASG access, to hopefully make a little more practical option. And we also had our homecoming dance on February 8th, and that had over 150 students in attendance, and they were able to enjoy a night under starry skies, which was the theme, along with photo booths, catered food, and a DJ. And likewise, with non-academic barriers, one thing that I'm trying to focus on is mental health with students. And in order to do so, in our monthly development meetings, this coming March 1st, we're going to have a meeting in which we're going to go over the basics of mental health statistics, warning signs, as well as the question, persuade, refer method, to hopefully equip our student leaders with the ability to help students in need, and to be prepared for both themselves and for those who come to them. And we also had our African American Heritage Month event. That was on February 20th, where we had over 200 students participating to honor Black History Month, and their activities, a library booth where students could explore African American history, along with performances and more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. We do not have any discussion items. Do we have any board requests for reports? Don't see any. So now, moving on to the consent calendar, 5.0. We are pulling 5.15 from the agenda. Do I have any other polls?
I wanted to pull 5.4 and 5.10.
5.4 and 5.10. Any others?
No, I sent a whole list of questions to Chancellor Burke, and she answered all my questions for me, so I'm not pulling any today.
All right.
Thank you.
It's a great way to do it. Yes.
I just wanted to make a comment and say thank you to Anne-Marie Gable for an excellent detail on 5.3. I'm not going to pull it. I just wanted to share that with you. It was very concise and everything I wanted to know. I did want to discuss 5.6.
5.6 as a poll?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any others? Is your thing working?
Yes.
No, is your, you got.
I preempted.
Someone got you. Someone got you.
Fine with me.
Technology prevailed. So a motion for Trustee Jamal and a second for Trustee Wright for the balance of the consent calendar. Go ahead and vote on the item. You have unanimous trustee yes vote and a student trustee advisory vote as a positive, sorry. All right, next we have, we'll go in order and go 5.4. So this is,
I just wanted to make people aware that of all these excuse me, of all the tournaments and trips that these kids are taking, that the foundation at IVC put in $12,862, which I think is fantastic for this trip to Berlin for the students. I just wanted to note that.
Awesome.
Very good.
Maybe they can find my daughter's luggage while they're there. Okay, so with that, we'll entertain a motion. Well, we'll do the motion in a second. All right, so I have a motion from Trustee Jamal and a second from Trustee Milchiker and a request to speak from Trustee Lang.
Yes, my question was on I was trying to understand, I guess, the second paragraph, and I talked to the Chancellor a little bit about this earlier today, but where it referred to this tournament in the second sentence of the second paragraph under status, I wasn't certain whether they were talking about the Berlin tournament or the CCCFA tournament. I was unclear in terms of, I guess there's most of the team is going to be going on the Berlin trip. Are there other team members that might be participating in the other tournament? Or anybody know what's going on here?
Yes, we're fortunate tonight to have Coach Bill Neeson here. If I can bring him to the podium to answer your questions, you'll hear directly from him.
Terrific, thank you.
Is it live? So we're originally for the CCFA, we were thinking of taking students to both. And when we planned this, well, obviously we had to plan ahead of time. So we did put it in so we could have taken people, but we decided not to go to the CCFA. So we're just taking students to Berlin at this time. And then next month we'll go to our national tournament.
Does that prevent us from potentially becoming state champions or something by not participating?
We're probably going to become national champions instead.
Okay. I like your confidence.
Not going for world, huh?
Not yet.
All right, thank you for the clarification. Seeing no more requests to speak, we'll go ahead and vote on the item. Unanimous trustee yes vote, a student advisory yes vote as well. All right, next we'll look at 5.6, pulled by Trustee Witt.
Okay, I'm asking the board to look at the grid, and I just have a concern for an evening's lecture for $2,000 or $2,500, and to see that at least one of them is coming out of ASG funds.
Which item, Terry? Trustee Witt?
5.6.
No, which lecture?
Oh, well, right there, the cystic fibrosis and the HIV and sea level. Okay, so you're looking at right there $6,500 for 3 evenings. And I understand this. I know it's coming from ASG funds. It doesn't matter where it's coming from. I think that's a lot for an evening, and those topics.
Do they want to speak to the issue?
You guys know about this? That's coming from out of your funds? No, and maybe in the future we might want to look at it at a cap of what we. I've done 11 community events when I was younger here on campus, and I know that was long ago, but I never spent that kind of money for a lecturer.
Well, can I ask, then, you guys aren't aware of these funds being authorized?
It's Saddleback.
I think Saddleback.
Here, I can probably answer part of that.
What?
This is a science lecture series.
This was probably from the budget that we give at the beginning of the year to co-curricular programs already. That's set aside for the programs to spend like the money for events such as this. So it's not like we allocate this money towards that. That was allocated at the beginning of the year to programs, like to then for them to use money on stuff such as this.
So you don't approve the detail of what they use it, you give them a lump sum that they can figure out what they want to use it for.
For events such as this, which is like a speaker
It's in
series
your
for the
budget.
students, yeah.
Okay. So, President Stern.
Perhaps I could speak to some of the detail. These are particularly prominent speakers. They, in one case, come from some distance, and in both cases of the $2,500 honoraria, these are folks that are known in their field. One of these folks is even known to me through lay channels and through multiple publications. And unfortunately, this is the going rate for people of that level of prominence. So we could certainly compromise on that, but we really are very proud of that science series and the kind of people we draw. So we would appreciate flexibility, but I do realize why those kinds of fees raise eyebrows.
So you're in 313. What's the, what are the number of seats in that room?
260, I'm told, from behind.
It's 250 to 260.
Is it full?
Yeah.
Most of the time it is.
Full for the science series?
Okay.
Yeah, it was
Pretty full.
Yeah, it was full.
This has been going on for a number of years at Saddleback College. We've gone, and what happens is that the Division of Science, Math, Engineering goes to ASG and asks for these funds. In fact, we've even had a Nobel Prize winner here. I mean, it's top notch.
Like divisions, they will request money at the beginning of the year or at the end of like this year for the budget for next year, and it's to go to programs like this. So they send in a request form, and then we look at like things that they would use it for, such as this, and then we allocate money for them.
Can I ask one more question then? Is there money paid at the door to attend these?
No.
No?
No,
They're free?
Free.
Okay.
Is part of the honorarium the travel expenses?
Does someone note that in detail? That is often the case for us, but let me see if anyone knows in these cases. We do not know. We can look into that for you.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so Trustee Lang.
Actually, the highest one was the one you didn't pull, which was the very end one for Linda Shoup, I think, at IVC. And that involved, I see, 2 days. So it would have been $3,000 per day. Glenn, did you want to speak to that at all?
Yes, I'd be happy to. The person is coming to do some organizational development with our management team. And so it's a 2-day effort to work with us in professional development.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did have that circled. I just didn't turn the page.
And just to clarify, these come out of either the ASG funds or the college budgets, right? It's not coming out of district budget. So,
Yeah, this one is out of the general fund, actually.
so, I mean, it's their purview how to spend the money.
I understand. I was just looking at that and having it done before. I paid $2,000 for 3 days for the gentleman, and we brought in 2,600 people. And we had a little charge at the door for $5.
Okay. Trustee Jamal.
So, yeah, I noticed that as well, Trustee Lang, the item, Glenn, that you guys are doing at IVC, the leadership development. So what do you hope to gain out of this? What do you hope the takeaways will be from this leadership development session or sessions?
Right.
And is the district participating at all?
Well, what it is designed to be like, if you're familiar with a 360 evaluation process.
Very, yeah.
This is basically what that will be. It'll be individual interviews by this consultant. It will bring various issues to the table, and then we'll have a final tabletop session to help resolve those issues.
So all managers at IVC will get a 360 review?
No, it's the executive team. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Seeing no more requests to speak, we'll go ahead and vote on the item. I guess I should have said it was moved by Trustee Milchiker and seconded by Trustee Lang in secret. We have 6 trustee yes votes, 1 trustee abstention, and a student advisory yes vote. Okay, next we are looking at 5.10.
Okay. That's the one I brought up. It's the out-of-state student travel. And I noticed it's for IVC, and the associated students at IVC have spent, $44,665 out of their funds for the student travel group.
Okay. Are you asking
I'm
a
just
question, or are you just
noticing,
pointing it out?
that's an awful lot of money that the students have at IVC. But I think it's wonderful for that, and I'm glad to see that they're spending the money on their students.
Actually, it looks like ASIVC is only spending $6,259. There's 19 coming out of the general fund. There's 38 coming out of the MUN Foundation, and then each student, how many? Is it 16 students divided into 13,800? So the total is 43,000.
Oh yeah, the total.
But the ASIVC did not spend 43,000. ASIVC spent 6,259.
Okay.
The students put in 13,800 of their own money. The general fund covered almost 20,000 of that.
Well, then I'm talking about all the different ones.
Oh, you totaled them all up.
I totaled them up. IVC.
Oh, I see.
All IVC.
No, last one is Saddleback.
And the last one's Saddleback. So for 1, 2, through the first 4 are IVC.
And that's
I totaled
$44,665.
$44,665.
Okay. It's awfully generous.
Glad to see, yeah, generous.
All right.
That's all.
I have a motion from Trustee Lang, a second from Trustee Jay, and a request to speak from Trustee Milchiker.
When I was reading this earlier, I was just thinking what a fabulous opportunity we give our students who are in our 100% commuter students to attend these national conventions. The Criminal Justice Association in Huntington Valley, Maryland. MUN is going to New York Times Square. Speech and debate team is going to Reno, Nevada. Phi Theta Kappa is going to Orlando. And the other school speech and debate team is going to Reno, Nevada, because those are the national forensics tournaments. So both of our forensics tournaments will be debating with each other, which is really exciting. So I'm just thinking that this is really, our students are basically commuter students, and this gives our students an opportunity to visit other places in a community of students and experience other places and debate other students and other students that don't necessarily look like them, that look like students from all over the country. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity for our students, so can't help but say that. Okay, thank you.
All right. Seeing no more requests to speak, we'll go ahead and vote on the item. I have a unanimous yes vote and a student advisory yes vote. Thank you. Next, we'll move on to general action items. 6.1. I'm sorry?
You pulled.
5.15 was pulled out. Like we're not,
Okay.
it was pulled by district staff.
Okay.
Sorry, did not clarify that. Okay, 6.1, OCSBA Maureen DiMarco Award nomination. Any nominations or requests to be nominated?
The Maureen DiMarco Award is for anybody that's connected with the school at all, but not a school board member. While the next one is the Marian Bergeson Award, and that's only for a school board member. So that's the distinction between those two awards that are listed. So if
What's the criteria, Marcia, for the?
From my understanding, the Maureen DiMarco Award was just, it says criteria for the award are as follows: inspiring others to take action in addressing the broad needs of young people. This is, the Orange County School Boards Association is primarily a K-12 organization, but with the 4 community college districts in Orange County. So it's the K-12, and so this sounds more like it's K-12, but we could certainly nominate someone from our district as well. Exhibiting a vision in addressing the needs of young people across Orange County. And it says recipient may or may not have served as a school board member. So
The recipients typically are community members that
Yeah.
have done something to help that district as well as the public in general, but primarily to help. So she's right, it's typically more often K through 12 because they're
Yeah.
The DiMarco
tighter knit.
Award.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in the district, so thinks, so it could be a member of our staff, administration, faculty? Right?
It could be if they've
Big.
done something for the community at large beyond their role as a faculty member or.
Do we have anybody?
administration.
That's why we're here tonight.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't,
Consider this.
I think we need guidance on this one from the college presidents or the chancellor if we're talking about non-board members. They would have more knowledge than we would.
Just so you know, we have till Friday, March the 29th to nominate somebody. So even if we don't do it today, we have
To come back to the
more
next
time.
board
We could
meeting.
come back at the next board meeting.
Does it have to
Be
be a
tight.
faculty?
No, it could be
No, no, no,
anybody in the
it's
community.
anybody from the community. So that's why it's typically it's K through 12 because they work closer with community people that do things. So like, for example, I think last year's award winner was from, I want to say Brea, Yorba Linda area, something like that. They had sponsored robotics
Okay.
tournament or
Oh,
whatever
right,
for the
right.
district and the
Yeah.
kids in that district. So it is more for, like it says, actually addressing the needs of young people. So it's not typically applied to, but I mean, our students are still young. You could nominate this director of, I'm sure a Maureen DiMarco Award is way better than Oscar.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if there's somebody that's a volunteer, that works at Astounding Inventions, that's really helpful for one of the colleges, for Irvine Valley
I
College.
mean,
or-
yeah, I mean, you could pick any of the sponsors of that event if you
You
wanted.
could.
I mean, that's the kind of thing it's for, is
Yeah.
recognizing people who've had an impact in helping young
Young
people.
people, right.
Got it. I have somebody in mind, but we can discuss that later.
No, I think you got it.
Well, you can only discuss it later if it comes back at the next board meeting.
What's the deadline?
March 29th. March 29th.
Trustee Lang.
I'd like to make a motion now that we've had a little chance to talk about this, to table this and bring it back to the next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, I think having a better understanding of what it is we're being asked to do and nominate, plus solicit nominations, if anybody has any ideas, certainly they can, I guess the best would be to notify the chancellor and she can disseminate that to us.
If there's a foundation board member that is really instrumental in helping the foundations, I mean, there's.
Sure, okay. Good idea.
Motion needs a second.
So we have a motion, now we have a motion from trustee Jade to do trustee Lang's motion.
To bring it back.
Motion on motion.
The motion is to bring it back to the next board meeting. Okay. All right. Someone still needs to vote. There we go. Unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisor yes vote as well. Okay. Now we have the other one, which applies directly to us. We have a past winner here. I
Yeah.
don't know if she wants to go for a repeat.
No. No. Winning an Oscar once is enough for me, that's
There
okay.
you go. So do we have anybody that we want to nominate or anybody requesting to be nominated?
Does anybody want to,
Have any of us been on as long enough?
you're on the, do you want to be nominated? Because you're on the Orange County
Oh,
School
no,
Board.
thank you.
No, okay.
No, thank you.
Want to be nominated?
Hey,
Me?
Yeah.
No, thank you. But I appreciate
I
it.
appreciate that, yeah. But, no, I don't feel like I've done that much yet.
Okay. Maybe in a few
You,
years.
when I looked at the list of your accomplishments, I'm like, okay, I'm never getting that award.
Well, it took me a long time to get it, I have to say.
Okay. All right, so
Thank you.
if we're not nominating anybody, we don't really need to vote on it.
Okay.
All right, so no action. Go ahead and go to the next item. 6.3, Board of Governors 2019 Classified Employee of the Year Award. We have a resolution on that? Or is that something else? No, it's just,
Who's our nominee?
The nominee. All right, so we're voting to approve the nominee.
Yeah.
All right.
Maria
I have-
Nunez.
I have a motion to speak, or I'm sorry, a motion to pass from trustee Lang, second from trustee Wright. Do we need to have the recipient step out of the room before we vote? No.
No, but I'd like to hear just a brief
Yeah.
summary of why we're nominating Rachel. I'm sure she's
Well,
certainly
Maria
worthy.
Nunez is the one who nominated
Oh.
her,
Oh,
so she
would
could
you like
mention it.
to?
Well, yeah, so
Not like
Maria,
we're gonna
you
vote
speak
no.
to the nominee.
Yeah, there we go.
Rachel's actually, she was nominated for our Employee of the Year for the school, and she won that. So what we did was we had actually changed around our application to match the state's application so that we were able to submit a name. But she is our communications officer with our Senate. She's also the grants analyst at the school, and she, the nomination that was submitted is actually in there, I think, so.
Yes.
Yeah, she's great.
Thank you so
Very
much.
hardworking.
All right, so I have a request to speak from trustee Jamal.
No, that
Oh,
was
that
it.
was
I asked
it?
the question.
Okay. A request to speak from trustee Milchiker.
I was
Withdrew it?
going to mention that it was Maria Nunez that nominated
okay.
the person that we're voting on. So
Perfect. All right. So no more requests to speak. We'll go ahead and vote on the item. Unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisor yes vote. Next, we have 6.4, Irvine Valley College Grant Subaward. UC Irvine Pathways to Engineering Collaborative. I have a motion from trustee Wright, second from trustee Jay. Seeing a request to speak from trustee Lang.
Yes, just
I do have
very
a question,
quickly,
too.
both on, I think there were 3 of these altogether. I want to say, bear with me just a second here, 6, what was it? Yes. I was just concerned because these are all items that are seem to be coming to us well after the fact in terms of the approval or in terms of the effective dates of these grants, and just wanted to briefly understand what's happening here.
Okay. Anybody like to take that on? All right.
So for item 6.4, the IVC, the subaward from UC Irvine, that one, we didn't get the subaward agreement from UCI until mid-December. And so then working through that, that's why that's coming. On the next one, 6.5, which again is an IVC grant on the optics, photonics, and lasers. It's another NSF grant, which means National Science Foundation. And in that one, when we were notified of the award, we had some changes that we needed to contact NSF on and get approval from before we could make it. So one of the changes that we want was to add the partner, the Lake Washington Institute, and do the award directly to them. And they also had a personnel change on that. So we had to get approval from NSF before we could do that sub-award and change the language around. So that's what took time on that one. And then I think your last one on 6.8, that's the Saddleback College. That's the NSF grant again on collaborative research. Originally, Stanford was going to be a subrecipient from San Jose Evergreen. As we were working through it, San Jose Evergreen chose, we pulled Stanford out and we're directly doing the subaward to Stanford. We had to get approval from the NSF to do that, and so that all happened during the federal government shutdown, which took a little bit of time, so that's why that one's a little bit later.
Okay. It also seems to throw off the timing of when things are supposed to occur under the grant. For example, on one of them, there was supposed to be some scholarships that took place in 2017, which obviously wouldn't have happened.
Well, that was when the applications were first done, and so all of that gets shifted once the award is done in the award year. So we didn't receive it in the original application year that we requested. So now it'll all be shifted. In all the cases with the grants, you can spend funds beginning on the date of the grant award time. So we're not losing any time on spending the funds or losing any funding because it's coming late. It's just processing the paperwork takes a long time.
Thank you for the clarification.
Okay. Trustee Milchiker.
yeah, I was just going to ask this seems to be a fabulous opportunities, because this is a grant for, that was given to the National Science Foundation to UC Irvine, the UC Irvine's Pathways Program, and engineering collaborative to Irvine Valley College students is supposed to help disadvantaged Irvine Valley College students become engineers, go to Irvine Valley College and then go to UCI. But what I'm asking about is, how do we recruit these disadvantaged students so they'll come to IVC so they can take advantage of the program and get these monies? I think did I read it was $6,000 per year? Is that what the students are getting? 65. That's what I thought I read. I was just looking for the exact number. So, so I'm just wondering how are they going to recruit these students, because it's a wonderful opportunity for students to become engineers.
And I will look to Dr. Rockmore to answer that question.
Trying to catch you through the line here. This is really to serve in the UCI IVC MOU, the engineering MOU. So the cohort of students that are redirected to Irvine Valley College will be in that cohort. And then they'll go through a regular scholarship process that will determine the need. And so the ones that have the most need will receive those scholarships.
Oh, so what you're saying is these students are actually intended on going to UCI, but they've been redirected to Irvine Valley College.
Yes, there's currently, the last number that I've heard, there's around 2,000 students that apply to UCI mechanical engineering that are qualified to be in the program but can't be accepted. So we have built an MOU that gives them the opportunity to come to IVC for 2 years. The curriculum has been co-developed between our faculty and the faculty at UCI. And should they go through that program, get a certain GPA, they're automatically admitted back into the UCI program.
So you're implying that not all these students get $6,500 per year. Is that accurate?
We don't know yet. We haven't started the process at this point. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Good opportunity for students.
All right. Student Trustee Hall.
Yes, I had a question on, in the statement of work on page 11, Exhibit B, it lists the objectives. And Objective 5 states that one of the objectives is to generate new knowledge about academically talented, low-income community college engineering students and their will to succeed in engineering. And I was wondering, after we obtain that information, it just says that you generate the new knowledge, and I was wondering what you do with, or does the plan implement it afterward, or what do you do with that information afterward? In Objective 5, what are the objectives, in addition to, of course, increasing the number of economically disadvantaged students wanting to go in engineering? It says that Objective 5 is to generate new knowledge about this cohort of students, and there's no objective afterward as to the action that you'll take afterward with that information, and I was wondering if there was a plan in place for after you obtain that information.
If I'm understanding, what it would intend to do is, because the students will have an opportunity to go to Cal Poly, for example, or Davis, or any of the other engineering programs. And so I think part of this is to really display the value of coming to Irvine Valley College first and then going back to UCI, keeping them in that UCI pipeline, if I understood your question.
And then I'm also aware that when they get to IVC, I understand that, I'm sorry, I forget where it says exactly, but after they come to IVC, they'll be grouped with their cohort, and they'll have activities pertaining to discussing, their academic or their socioeconomic statuses and group development. And I was wondering, what is it? Yeah.
Under tasks.
Under tasks?
Yeah, 5 or 6.
5 or 6. Oh, yeah. So the research and the data collection kind of to go back to my last question, I understand that it's bringing awareness to these students in this cohort, but is there a definitive plan afterward, after you obtained, testimony from these students on why they are academically talented but they're low income and the situation surrounding that? Is there a plan or any community outreach that we can do for them afterward, after we've obtained all this information about their socioeconomic status?
I'm not sure. Let me. There's Chris. I was going to call.
Line is on its way.
My VPI to the podium here.
Good afternoon. So just a couple of points. I'm trying to find where you are. The scholarships can be offered to students who are native IVC students who want to be in engineering. What we do is we reserve some of the scholarships for the students who are part of the UCI cohort who end up coming back to IVC. And the students, after they leave IVC, if they transfer to UCI, the scholarship would go with them, and it's probably double, around 13,000. I don't remember the exact number. So to answer your question specifically, there is always a research component to all the NSF projects. So what we would do is you recruit students, as you would normally do. Then you would survey the students, and we have to assess if the wraparound services that we are offering, so the special counseling, special trips, special projects, if that actually has an impact. So we would always have a researcher, and I was trying to see if it's one of our own or if UCI contracted an outside researcher who would look at the progress of the native students not in the program compared to the progress of students in the program, so we could tease out what benefits there are to students being in the program, and then in future NSF grants, those would be implemented as part of those projects.
Okay, got it, thank you.
All right. Okay, seeing no more requests to speak, we'll go ahead and vote on the item. Unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisory yes vote as well. All right, next we have 6.5 along the same lines, and a little bit discussion on it already. Entertain a motion. I have a motion from trustee Milchiker and a second from trustee Jamal. Seeing a request to speak from trustee Milchiker.
Yeah, I think these grants are wonderful. These are NSF grants, National Science Foundation grants. I was just wondering, you know, we're also giving money to students in Lake Washington Institute of Technology and to our students. Where and what industries will these students work in after they complete this CTE program at IVC?
Thank you for that question. This is a very good question because all of the Los Angeles Orange County consortia is grappling with that very question. Okay. The databases that it's called the Labor Market Index. It's inadequate database, and we're finding that if you follow the database that's available, almost none of the CTE programs in Orange County, LA would be viable. So they're currently working very hard at trying to find out an accurate account of how many jobs are available in which area. But specifically to your point, any of the students that make it through our program, they are recruited, and it's hard to say how many of them will be, but Lawrence Livermore Laboratory, we also have Precision Optical in Irvine, and also Alcon, which of course you've heard of, recruit exclusively out of this program. Now that out of a cohort of 25 students, that may be 5 at this point. So there's a lot of work to be done there. But those are the industries they go into. There's also a dental industry in Irvine called Glidewell, and so they also use laser photonics.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Seeing no more requests to speak, we'll go ahead and vote on the item. Unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisory yes vote. 6.6, dual enrollment, South Orange County Community College District, primarily Irvine Valley College with Laguna Beach Unified School District. I have a motion from trustee Witt and a second from trustee Wright, and a request to speak from trustee Jamal.
Well, I'm all in favor of these agreements. We lobbied on having AB 30 extended without a sunset. And I don't want to bring up a sore subject, but is there any reason why this is with IVC and not with Saddleback or not with both? Well, that's a different school district, the next one.
There we go. I think I might be able to speak for both Glenn and I. There was initially some miscommunication, and while the service agreement for Laguna Beach invites both of us to participate, IVC was ahead in creating this agreement, and by the time we became involved, we really weren't able to create specific course offerings, and to do so would have delayed institution of the agreement. So we bowed out for now. We can always go in and forge another agreement.
Okay, so that was my next question, because this, I think, is a 3-year agreement. I mean, could be amended earlier to add Saddleback College?
They can make their own.
Yeah, they can do their own.
Yeah, they can do their own.
Yeah, I mean, because I know we don't technically have a service area, but, I mean, we know, most of us know Laguna Beach geography, and I think it's
the 132.
equally accessible to both colleges. Could even argue that it's more Saddleback, but it's about equal.
Yes.
So, okay. So you're going to work on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Seeing no more requests to speak, we'll go ahead and vote on the item. Unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisory yes vote. 6.7, dual enrollment, Saddleback College with Capo Unified. Have a motion from trustee Jay and a second from trustee Milchiker and a request to speak from trustee Jamal.
All right, so this is with Saddleback College, which does seem to make sense. My question is, I guess, and I had a chance to just skim it yesterday, why is it only a 1-year agreement? I didn't understand. Is it a pilot?
So the CCAP agreement
Mike.
Specific course list, and this was the first course that they developed. So it is, in effect, a pilot. The Counseling 100 class allows us to go in and create career pathways for these students, and in that sense, create a relationship with them to potentially come into our college with credits that we would be accepting.
You realize we lobbied in Sacramento to tell them not to have sunsets to AB 30, and so we could extend long-term CCAP agreements, and now we're doing pilots.
In the future, we will be looking to create longer-term agreements.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Trustee Wright.
The question I have is, I know the only course we'd be teaching is Counseling 100, but will you have other courses that you'll be teaching too?
They are in discussion, and we're currently in discussion at the highest levels with the Capo District about a very tight partnership that would extend well beyond this potential CCAP agreement.
Okay, that's good.
Okay. Seeing no more requests to speak, we'll go ahead and vote on the item. A unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisory yes vote. Okay, next we have 6.8, Grant Award, Saddleback College Collaborative Research, NSF. Motion from trustee Wright, second from trustee Lang. Seeing no, oh, there it is.
Sorry, I'll try to be quick.
Request to speak from trustee Milchiker.
Yeah, I was just wondering, this is another NSF grant, National Science Foundation grant, which is great, wonderful. How will we be collaborating with schools in the Pacific Northwest, with University of Colorado, with Stanford? You know. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much. There's a question. They're looking to who's going to answer the question.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Our NSF grant is a NSF INCLUDES grant, and we are the lead college to facilitate the replication of our program that exists here across the nation. And so what we've done is we've created a structure of hubs in different regions, and each of the hubs will be supporting a series of schools within their hubs. And what we do is we provide support to the hubs. The hubs have been working with us in replicating the programs at their sites, and now we're using them to then replicate the program at the additional sites that they're going to be supporting.
So these are going to be replicating some of our STEM programs? Is that
It's actually replicating a support program that we've developed. It started off as our Bridge to Engineering program.
Right.
And what it does is it provides wraparound support for STEM students overall, not just engineers. So we have a student support specialist that follows the students and provides them with support in and outside of the classroom. We also have them participating in activities that helps to introduce them to different career opportunities in STEM fields. And then we also provide support in applying for and seeking out internship placements. And part of our PI's work, as well as the, we have a backbone organization that is reaching out to industry to identify internship opportunities that our students would then have chance at applying for. And in those agreements, we actually work with those industries to provide actual placements.
they're really important for students. They really help students succeed in their careers. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Seeing no more requests to speak, go ahead and vote on the item.
Really? Oh, wow, that's really good to know. Oh, wow.
Unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisory yes vote. Okay, next we have 6.9, district-wide sustainability and energy plan. Have a motion from trustee Jay and a second from trustee Witt. A request to speak from trustee Jamal because we haven't heard from Brandy Delana tonight.
I don't know if it's for Brandy.
Oh, okay.
We'll see.
I have a question too.
I guess I just had a general question, and maybe it's Anne Marie. What is the district's aspiration in terms of sustainability? And what do we want to be?
So this contract is really to try to come up with the processes and establish those goals as set forth. You know, we did a sustainability and energy plan that was done back in 2017. And with that, there were several goals. And so now what we want to do is work with the consultant, working with both of the colleges and say, okay, well, how are you going to obtain those goals? And this process will be setting of what our
But didn't we
energy
hire a
plans are.
consultant to tell us, guide us on our direction, and then we're hiring a consultant to help us guide us on the other consultants' recommendations?
It's the same consultant.
Okay.
Yes, to
That's
guide
much
us
better.
on the
Didn't we just
implementation.
get to action instead of stop hiring consultants to analyze things? Yes?
So this one is
I
going
take that
to
as a probable.
a probable, yes. What they're going to do is they're going to dig into the details a little bit more and really set those energy savings goals that they want to achieve, as well as what we want to look like on an entire college campus. I mean, I think this could get into the details of, we want the temperature point set at,
I understand that.
74 degrees for this, or, whatever that may be. And so I think it's having the consultant that can sit down with all the various committees on campus in order to get agreement for each of the campuses where they want to go.
Okay. I'm going to support it reluctantly. I mean, I think it's enough consulting. And I mean, we might need consultants to start action, but I think it's enough. I mean, I think after this round, let's figure it out and move ahead and take some concrete steps.
Okay. Trustee Milchiker.
I guess I have similar questions, but you answered some of them. Okay, what do we get from phase one? What will we get from phase two? I know most of our buildings are green buildings now. They're really good buildings. So will this work? Will he work on, or he or she, I guess, work on future buildings? I know we did a water reclamation plant many years ago, and that was helping us become more ecological in our district. I'm just wondering, what do we plan to get from phase two?
So phase two will
Yes,
establishes
same question.
really the protocols and the processes of how we're going to get to where we want to be on sustainability. You know, it'll go into the various details of, as I mentioned, temperature set points. You know, do you want to make everyone or have IT shut down everybody's computers overnight? You know, things like that that could save energy funding or energy funds, kilowatt hours, to where you have, you know, less that you're being charged. It would also go into, do we want to put solar parking lots up? And if so, how many do you want to do? How much are you going to save on your energy usage if you do that? So it's really coming up with those processes and procedures of everything related to sustainability and what we're going to do in order to get there.
Okay. Well, that's worthy. I think we're heading in that direction by closing down the district every Friday in the summer. I think that's going to be helpful in saving energy costs.
It
Thank
should,
you.
yes.
Hopefully.
Trustee Witt.
I see that they worked for us for 4 years. What did that cost? Do you remember? Because that was back in 1915?
I am going to look to Brandy for that one, because that was prior to me being here.
2000, yeah. Do you remember,
This is
Brandy?
going to be an estimate. I do kind of remember. We allocated about $500,000 through the basic aid process for this effort, and we spent approximately $230 on the first, and this is the 300. This is the remainder of the contract would go here. If I might add, the phase two is targeting an integrated energy master plan, which will help us get to the state's objective of a net zero energy expenditure in the district statewide. That's an overall goal. It's I think it's 2030. Is that right, Anne Marie? Is it 2030? Okay, so in 2030, we're expected to be at net zero. And so this plan will help us set some targets for how to arrive at that. There's some questions statewide as to whether or not that's an achievable objective, but certainly this plan will go a long way toward helping us meet that target.
That would be minus almost the $1 million that we're planning for, that we're expecting their input. I mean, if it was 500,000 before and
Oh,
now
no,
it's
I'm
3,
sorry.
so it's 800
I must have
some thousand.
misspoke then.
Okay.
So it was a $500,000. It might have been like 530 in there.
For total, phase 1 and 2?
Total, for phase 1 and 2.
Oh, okay. Well, then minus the $500,000 at the end. I mean, are we going to keep track of this money? Meaning our savings? I mean, we approve all of this and, you know, it's our community's money. And so when we do this 5 years from now, are we going to have the data that says, yeah, we saved, this is what we spent in 2015, and now it's 2025. So this is how much, what's the difference in cost?
Yes,
the graph.
absolutely. One
Right.
of the things that this will do is result in a monitoring that will help us understand just exactly what you're saying.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I guess it sounds to me, if I can speak on behalf of the board members, there is a concern that, okay, so we've done phase 1, phase 2. When we go to phase 3, which is implementation, are we going to need consultants to help us implement it? Or are we going to be able to figure that out for ourselves?
We can figure that out for ourselves.
Okay. Thank you.
Is that a commitment today?
Yes.
I know that in my experience with this in a different district, obviously, but you know, you have the energy czar whose salary is paid out of the savings. And so there's an incentive for that person to save us more because then they get paid more. But in this case, we're bleeding it out in advance to then hope that that's going to be saved in that time frame. So it's a gamble, but
Part of what this will tell us also is where will we get the biggest bang for our buck? So is solar the way to go, or should, we obviously wouldn't do wind energy here, but looking at the various ways that we can save money and be sustainable and figure out which ones are going to be the most economical and make the most sense for each of the colleges. And each of the colleges are different. As you know, Irvine Valley is with Southern California Edison, whereas here on Saddleback campus, we're with San Diego Gas and Electric. And so also looking at any incentives or initiatives that each of the power companies have that we could take advantage of. So the consultants will be helping us with that in order to determine what we should implement in order to get the most savings from everything that we do.
So if I could just quick, I don't want to be repetitive. You obviously hear the concerns. My concern is not from the aspiration or the goal, which I support. It's the fact that, as Trustee Witt mentioned, we're on phase 2. We're over $500,000. So whoever's supervising this work, let's be sure that the action plan you get from, or the recommendations are actionable and something that we as a district, as you committed to no more consultants, that we can handle internally. So, thank you.
Okay. So, seeing no more requests to speak, we'll go and vote on the item. Oh, we still need a second. All right, Trustee Milchiker. That's right. Moved by Trustee Jay, seconded by Trustee Milchiker. You have a unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisory yes vote. Okay, 6.10, academic year 2019-2020 non-resident tuition fees. I have a motion from Trustee Wright, a second from Trustee Jay. See no requests to speak, we'll go ahead and vote on the item. We have a unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisory yes vote. Next, we have 6.11, authorized purchase of computer equipment, related devices, and services, Dell Marketing. A motion from Trustee Lang, second from Trustee Jay. No request to speak, so we'll vote on the item. Unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisory yes vote. 6.12, we have a motion from Trustee Jamal and a second from Trustee Jay. These are for review and study only. I have a request to speak from Trustee Jamal.
Oh, this is 6.12.
Yes.
No, I was just going to comment that these are part of the board policies that our subcommittee has been looking at, and I think we found our groove a little bit more even at the last meeting. And I just want to thank Trustees Witt and Jay, Chancellor Burke, Vice Chancellor Gable, Grace, Kristen. Who else do I need to thank? I think we were starting to. Who else? Starting to work well, and I think the process is coming together nicely so far.
Great. Glad it's working. Okay. No more requests to speak. We'll go ahead and vote on the item. As unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisory yes vote. 6.13, these are for approval, and there's been a correction that everyone has received on Board Policy 5800, Prevention of Identity Theft in Student Financial Transactions. So when you're moving, motion from Trustee Witt and second from Trustee Jamal with the amended version of 5800. Seeing no request to speak. Oh. Wait. Back it up. Okay. You sure? All right. Voting on the item. We have a unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisory yes vote. Moving on to 6.14, academic, employee, and classified administrative personnel actions. I had a paper somewhere. So I'm going to read off the 3 positions. Vice President for College Administrative Services, employee name Corey Wathen, contract dates February 19th, 2019 through June 30th, 2021. Range and step 25 and 5, annual salary $208,272, monthly allowances, transportation $475, cell phone $165, relocation stipend $2,500. Position number 2, Dean of Career and Continuing Education, Integrated Design, Engineering, and Automation, categorically funded. Employee name Deborah Vanchelant. Contract dates December 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2021. Range and step 22 and 2. Annual salary $155, $424. Monthly allowances, transportation $250, cell phone $165. Position 3, Interim Dean of Enrollment Services. Employee name Francis Guzman. Contract dates December 3rd, 2018 through April 30th, 2019. Range and step 22 and 4. Annual salary $171, $348. Monthly allowances none. Retiree. We do have Corey Wathen is here. All right. Anxiously awaiting our vote on this. And with that, I'll entertain. I have a motion from Trustee Lang and a second from Trustee Milchiker. Seeing no requests to speak, we'll go ahead and vote on the item. We have a unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisory yes vote. Congratulations, Corey Wathen. All right, 6.15, faculty conversion to Canvas one-time stipends. I have a motion from Trustee Milchiker, second from Trustee Jay. Seeing no requests to speak, go ahead and, oh, actually I did have something to say. I just found out Irvine Unified uses Canvas in their process. So any students that come to IVC or Saddleback from Irvine Unified will be well aware of how Canvas works, which is helpful.
And what were the stipends used in IUSD, Mr. President?
I don't know. I don't work for IUSD.
Let me guess.
But I'm going to imagine that they were 0.
Yeah.
All right.
We'd like to be the leaders, don't we?
Okay. With that, go ahead and vote on the item.
You set yourself up for that.
I know. I don't work for them. I don't know. All right. So with that, we have a a trustee yes vote of 6, 1 trustee no, and a student advisory yes vote. Next, we have 6.16, classified personnel actions.
No changes.
No changes. We have a motion from Trustee Milchiker, a second from Trustee Witt. Seeing no requests to speak, we'll vote on the item. Unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisory yes vote. 6.17, non-bargaining unit personnel action.
No changes.
No changes. A motion from Trustee Lang, a second from Trustee Wright. Seeing no requests to speak, vote on the item. Unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisory yes vote. We have 6.18, annual report on first-year probationary faculty. We have a motion from Trustee Jamal, a second from Trustee Jay. Seeing no requests to speak, we'll go ahead and vote on the item.
Oh, sorry.
Unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisory yes vote. 6.19, annual report on second-year probationary faculty. Have a motion from Trustee Lang, a second from Trustee Jamal. Seeing no request to speak, we'll go and vote on the item. Unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisory yes vote. 6.20, annual report on fourth-year probationary faculty. So these would be recommended for tenure. You have your list of people on track for that. I have a motion from Trustee Lang and a second from Trustee Milchiker. And seeing no requests to speak, we'll go ahead and vote on the item. Unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisory yes vote. Moving on to board reports, or I'm sorry, just reports in general. We have 7.1 Saddleback College and Irvine Valley College speakers. Any questions on those? Seeing none. 7.2 staff response to public comments from previous board meeting. None at this time. 7.3 annual report on third-year probationary faculty continuation of tenure track status. No questions on that one. 7.4 facilities plan status report. Request to speak from Trustee Lang.
Yes, I think there was a comment here on the stadium project that the contractor didn't think that the timeline was reasonable either in terms of when we were showing this to be complete. So my question is when they do feel that it is reasonable that this project will be complete.
So it's a moving target on any given day, but as of today, we realistically are anticipating that the final project completion will be done in mid-March.
What year?
2020.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, when you say final completion,
That means they're.
nothing can happen in the facilities until it's done? Or is it like, this part's done, we can use it?
It depends on which part, because there's about a 2-month time frame between what we call substantial completion, and that's when they're working all their punch lists and things. Whereas depending upon what is left from substantial completion, you may be able to use parts of it. But final completion is when they're supposed to be done with their punch list and off and gone. And so that's really the date that I look to as the final completion. So as I said, right now it's mid-March. The contractor is a little difficult at the moment, so we'll see what happens.
Shocking. Trustee Wright.
I have a question regarding the Saddleback College Science Math Building, the SM building that I guess you're going to do a building assessment. When is that going to be finished, and have you got a contractor yet?
So we did a building assessment already. That has been completed. It was just completed within the last couple weeks, and we went over it with the Saddleback College executive team. As far as getting a contractor, we have not hired a contractor. We are evaluating whether or not we want to try to submit that building for an FPP, final project proposal, to try to get state funding to renovate it. I think we are moving in that direction. That would come to the board in June for that, but that's a discussion that the campus and the college are still having on which building we want to try to move forward with.
Because I'm concerned because there's still a lot of problems in that building with the air conditioning and the rain coming down and lots of leaks.
Right. So I can turn to Dr. Stern, but it's my understanding that FMO is working to try to correct all the roof leaks, because there were several buildings on this campus. I know at least one building on the Irvine Valley campus where there were leaks from the rains, and that we are trying to work to get those rectified.
Yeah, a lot of those leaks are just in the concrete. And they're not,
right.
So it's there.
Right.
So very briefly, so the safety concerns that were brought out in the inspection report will be shared with the college leadership team consultation council tomorrow. And at that time, we will be producing a work plan to show how remediation will be completed, even in the interim, while we are able to talk about replacement versus renovation.
Okay. Trustee Jamal.
So I'm not picking on you tonight. It just seems like stuff's coming up. So is there anything the board should know about regarding the stadium project? And you expressed some concerns about challenges with the contractor.
Well,
because this is and I mean, obviously, any capital construction project is important to the board, and as all expenditures are. But in the stadium in particular, I mean, we've gone out and done presentations before city councils, and so this is a particularly high-profile project that has a lot of community interest beyond our stakeholders within our district. So is there anything we should be aware of?
Well, besides the fact that we're delayed, and I would say that we are significantly delayed, the contractor, this was a design build contract. And at times it doesn't feel like the contractor knows what a design build is and are trying to come after additional costs that we believe are part of our contract and aren't owed. So that's kind of what I was alluding to when I said they're being a difficult contractor, is they're trying to make assumptions and assertions for things that they believe that they want to be paid for because they're losing money on the project, and they're trying to come after us for that, but we're saying we have a guaranteed cost. So I think it'll be a fight. Where
Really? Oh, no.
So it's a contractor who's used to getting change orders and didn't realize that this is one they don't get to do change orders?
Well, I mean, it's a really reputable contractor. I mean, they're a big firm, and so a lot of us were kind of surprised by what we're getting, but we know that they have had some changeover in staff. We did just request and had a changeover, so we're hopeful that the new staffing that they've put on the project will be a little bit better, but it's a problem.
It's not good news.
No.
Well, I see other trustees have questions, so I'll leave it at that.
Trustee Witt.
Are we done with stadium?
You can ask whatever you want.
Okay, on page 17 of 19, guess what I'm going to talk about? Technology and applied science, the task building. Turn the page. On the third line down, task building renovation design process with a focus on evaluating the potential for repurposing rather than demolishing the building. Tell me what that means.
So when we finalized and went out for bid for the ATAS building, which is the brand new building that is going to go where the existing tennis courts are, part of that project and part of that design was we were going to completely demolish the TAS building and we were going to put a parking lot there. Mm-hmm. As discussions have occurred throughout the project and the design of the project, the recommendation was made to hold off on demolishing TAS at this point in time.
Who made that recommendation?
It was a discussion amongst our district facilities team with the college administration.
Our what? Our college?
With college administration.
College facilities team.
District facilities.
Okay.
So myself and Brandy and her team in discussion with the president and vice president of Saddleback College.
Okay.
And looking at that. And so what we decided was we're not going to have TAS completely demolished at this point in time, and it's going to allow us to have time and for the college to have time to determine what they want to do with that building. And so we haven't made the decision yet. It's what we're doing is allowing the college to have a little bit more time to look at their programming and their needs down the road to see what are we going to do, if anything, with the building. Are we going to renovate the building? Are we going to demolish the building? Do we have programs that need to go into the building? You know, we have some modular buildings out there that were planned to be permanent. And so do we want to try to get rid of all of the modulars? And could we move the ones that we say are permanent, villages 1 through 10, into TAS and renovate TAS for those? So it's allowing us the time to have those discussions for what's going to be best for the college down the road.
Is the consideration putting TAS back into TAS building?
The programs that were originally in TAS back into TAS?
Mm-hmm.
I believe most of those programs are going into the new ATAS building.
Which one's going to get done faster? The
ATAS.
renovation? Or the...
No, ATAS. So that one's in design. We're at about 100% design development on those plans, at least for the tennis court aspect. And so we're well underway on development with ATAS. So that one will get done first.
So is the expected, was it the end date or the beginning, 2023? Why is that ringing in my ears?
So for ATAS, no, let me see. Where is that one?
No, remember?
That is August of 2022 is when we'll be done with construction for the ATAS.
Okay. I could have sworn you said, Brandy, 2023. I lost it that night. Okay, I appreciate you reviewing the building. I'm not a contractor, but I never thought we should demolish that building. There's a lot of ways to save it.
It's in pretty bad shape, but it could, if we wanted to, we could save it. But what we would do to save it is when they came in to rebuild it or renovate it to bring it up to code, it would basically just come down to the studs. Because they're, you know, what we've discovered is there's issues with the slab, there's issues with the exterior, there's a lot of issues with that building. That's not to say it cannot be renovated, but. That's not always less expensive. Yeah.
Yeah. You ever lived in an old house, Terry?
No.
I have.
Then
They
you know
say
it.
A boat is a hole with water, or
you
throw money into. An old house is kind of like that.
Mm.
Anyway.
It all depends on the land. I mean, you know, if it really is a sinkhole, well, obviously. But thank you very much. I know it's been a lot of work on your part.
All right, seeing no more requests to speak, move on to 7.5, monthly financial status report. No questions there. 7.6, quarterly investment report.
Oh.
No questions there. 7.7, OPEB trust fund. No questions there. Pension stabilization fund, 7.8. No questions there. Moving on to reports from administration and governance groups. Saddleback College Academic Senate, you're up.
Thank you. Good evening. Midterms in 2 weeks. We're already getting close to the middle of the semester. Pretty amazing to me. The sustainability plan. I want to thank you for approving the district and the colleges to move forward with it tonight. We need to be leaders for our community in this area, not followers. And I know that every dollar I put into my house to make it more sustainable has paid back at this point about 20 times. So if the district can do something like that, we'll save a tremendous amount of money. I'd also like to discuss academic barriers and non-academic barriers, and to amplify zero-cost textbooks that President Stearns spoke of. History of architecture gets taught in this very room tomorrow morning at 10:30. You're welcome to drop by. And we serve about 500 students per year in that class with a UC transferable fine arts elective. The textbook is very expensive, about $175. With the used textbooks, much less, but averaging about $100. So I've been looking for a new textbook for that class that would be zero cost, and I couldn't find one. The librarians of Saddleback College found one for me in 2 days when I asked them. It's a zero cost textbook. So 500 students per year over about 10 years is a savings to the students of $500,000, and we just implemented that. I'm really excited, and I want to thank our library services for their tremendous work with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Faculty Association.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm pleased to report that next Monday, March 4th, the Faculty Association Rep Council will meet, and having had sufficient time to communicate with faculty in their divisions and schools, whom they represent, will almost certainly approve forwarding the proposed negotiated contract to the general membership for a ratification vote. On the following Monday, March 11th, immediately after presenting the faculty contract to our full-time and part-time membership, that ratification vote will begin and will continue through Friday, March 15th. I have every reason to believe that the faculty will ratify the proposed negotiated contract. With this hopefully ratified contract on the docket for next month's March 25th board meeting, the final step will be, as you know, approval by you, the board. I want to express my gratitude to Vice Chancellor of Human Resources and District Chief Negotiator, Dr. Cindy Viscachill, and her entire team for their consummate professionalism, the mutual respect they fostered, and their ability to compromise without compromising what's most important, paradoxically for both parties. I also want to thank Chancellor Burke and each of the Board of Trustees, each one of you, for your steady leadership, your fair-mindedness in shepherding the district through this process, which I hope comes to its mutually desired conclusion at our next Board of Trustee meeting on Monday, March 25th, which happens to be my birthday. I realize and appreciate that each of you is independent and free-thinking. I just thought that if you were looking for an early gift for me, well, you know, a nice card would be fine.
CBA enough?
Thank you.
Got a pencil here. That's a gift to public funds, sorry. Okay. All right, IVC Academic Senate.
I have a little bit of a long report. So this report is informational and fundamentally a thank you to the IVC community and faculty in particular. This thank you recognizes the challenging and difficult work faculty undertook for the past years to achieve the highly efficient productivity numbers that IVC is currently experiencing. Acknowledging the role of faculty in increasing productivity needs to be contextualized in order to be fully appreciated. And if you'll just indulge me, let me give you some context. Student preferences are changing, enrollments are squishy, and the demand for programs can change over time. Several years ago, IVC's VPI and Academic Senate joined together to increase college productivity, as well as the Office of the President. I call this effort enrollment management. Enrollment management involves setting productivity targets and working toward those targets. And forgive me, I know many in this room understand this. I just need to get this on the record. Primarily, it involved the canceling of low enrolled classes. That required many, and continuing tough conversations between faculty, chairs, and deans. It required conversations with students. Classes were not available, and student academic plans were affected. Many continuing decisions were made to run low-enrolled classes to support that type of student success. Semester after semester, faculty, schools, and the college made tough decisions and grappled with fewer sections, issues of faculty load, and the future of programs. My own paralegal program has struggled with low-enrolled sections, and we've canceled them. I am personally affected by this process. Career education programs have felt the pain most acutely. Consequently, and currently, Senate is reviewing and revising the program discontinuance policy for the college, developing a program vitality process, and also helping to look for opportunities for the college to grow. Beyond enrollment management, productivity was achieved by the dismissal of administrators. Sorry, I didn't mean to pause there. And the closure of the IVC Child Development Center. Further, Classified Senate has been a strong partner in building IVC productivity. Finally, Academic Senate says thank you to the faculty, classified, and administrators at IVC for pulling together and working collaboratively. It has not all been rosy. Many faculty remain deeply concerned about the future of the programs and the future of enrollment management. For them, Senate remains vigilant and focused on the collateral effects of achieving productivity without choking access. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, next we have Vice President.
No report.
Vice Chancellor, sorry. All right.
I have one report. On Friday evening, I spent my Friday evening watching the IVC women's basketball win the championship for the conference. I want to congratulate Dr. Rockmore, Julie Hanks, the head coach, and the women who play on the women's basketball team. I know a little bit about women's basketball. It was a great game. What wasn't said was Cyprus beat them earlier in the year. It's very hard to come back and beat a team a second time. And the IVC women came out in a fantastic performance. They were up by 20 first half. It was almost tied at halftime. So it was a game of runs, and I think that they did a fantastic job. So I want to congratulate the women's basketball team at IVC.
All right, thank you. Vice
No
Chancellor.
report.
No, okay. President, I can't even read that from here.
It's Marian.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to say thank you for accepting the nomination for Rachel Manders to be Employee of the Year for the Chancellor's Office. And she really is very deserving. But I also wanted to mention that for the Maureen DiMarco Award, we do actually have a custodian at IVC. I can forward his information, but he has a nonprofit organization that he does on the side that feeds people, and he works with all like the farms and stuff in Irvine to do gleaning with student clubs. So he kind of involves it all. He does food distributions on campus for low income and veterans. So he's kind of an amazing person. So I'll forward his information.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, perfect. Darren England.
Good evening. I'd like to report that we are currently in our last week of nominations for Classified Employee of the Year for Saddleback College. We are also adjusting our schedule, so next year we will have a staff member to send to the Board of Governors in 2020, or possibly send as a Classified Staff Member of the Year. Also, our executive team went to a gathering of senates a few weeks back, and we did learn a lot about how to be more productive in our professional development offerings. So we hope to be working with President Stern and our executive team to try to develop a new classified staff development week that we will be hosting at Saddleback College and offering different professional development opportunities to all the staff. Thank you.
Very good. Scott Green, your report was already given for you, so we're just gonna wrap up.
Thank you. We are so incredibly proud that we have a Saddleback IVC student who's won an Academy Award. She's a product of the South Orange County Community College District. And it goes to show that every student is so important because you never know how you're going to affect that student when you meet them, when you support them, when you are servicing them, when it comes down to trying to make sure that they have all the tools to be successful. Rika, when she was at Saddleback College, she was very unassuming. She was quiet. She didn't really stand out personality-wise because she wasn't a real boisterous person. But you never know how you're going to affect that person, because in 2010, she was a production assistant and decided the very next year to go to Saddleback College and IVC to take classes. And when she went to Saddleback College, she decided to take a cinema class. And so in that time, there was something that was a positive experience for her to keep going. She actually learned how to do filmmaking. And we're very proud the fact that somehow the cinema, TV, and radio department at Saddleback College was able to give her that positive experience, so she decided to keep going. She transferred to USC. She made her first directorial debut in 2016. And that wasn't that long ago. And she also is the first Persian American to ever win an Academy Award. When you think about the Oscars, they have been awarded since 1927. They did a study. Anyone who wins an Oscar actually lives 4.5 years longer than the average person in that age. So, like, hypothetically, for me, if my life plan goes as far as I want to, as far as longevity is concerned, if I were to win an Oscar, I'd be 104.5 years old. So it's the type of thing that you never know how you're going to affect students. And we had a lot of smiling faces today because we're always going to remember February 24th, 2019 as the day that a former Saddleback IVC student won an Academy Award.
Thank you very much. Does it exponentiate if you keep winning Oscars?
Keep going.
All right, with that, we are adjourned at 8:35.